guys, my name is Anurag Naidu. I'm a jazz pianist based out of Bombay, and today we're trying out the Casio CDX 9000 IN. It's a really fun keyboard with some really interesting sounds and some really new features that have come out. So I still remember the first time my dad wanted me to get into playing Hindustani classical music because he was a Hindustani classically trained musician. I began playing harmonium because my dad started teaching me that, and then one of my relatives got me a really small Casio keyboard. So that was the first one that I ever had, which had those green buttons where you could actually create drum beats and stuff. And that's what got me really interested into getting into playing keys and stuff. And that was like a small 2.5 3 octave keyboard, and that moved on to a slightly bigger synth, and then to piano, which eventually was the thing that I wanted to do. Three things that I always look at when I look at a keyboard, just because of my live experience, which is mainly piano, EP, and organ. And I think this keyboard kind of kicks ass in that direction because there's some really hip stuff that's coming out of it. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the piano tone that they've got over here, and it's really satisfying, you know. The other thing is the touch is really nice, and they let you change it from like a light to almost no response touch, which is great for keyboard players of all, you know, categories, and especially for pianists like me who like a heavy touch. You know, try to get like a nice variation on the sound. It's really helpful. It's got a slight reverb on it. Like different presets for this reverb, which is great. This one, you know, and all the way down to really almost no reverb, which is great for gigs, you know, because depending on the amp and depending on what PAs you're going through, it's really helpful to get a sound that's kind of tailor-made, but at the same time can be like modulated at the gig. Like, you know, last moment you find that, oh, it's not giving me enough reverb in the room, so, you know. The other great thing is just having the speakers inbuilt. You know, a lot of times you're in a hotel or gigging and stuff, and you just need a keyboard that just has speakers right in there, so you don't have to look for an amp. A lot of times I'm like stuck in this situation where, you know, you don't have an amp and you just want to practice. So this is kind of great to have speakers built in. And I just got my own pedal, the Nectar pedal, which I generally use. It's, as you can see, it's super duper compatible and super responsive to the sustain. All this makes the piano sound very satisfying, which is generally a really hard thing to find. As you can see, it's got like also this really cool factor of not cutting off the sound. Keyboards don't like really pay attention to detail about that. As you can hear, let's say if I'm holding that sound and you can hear it ring, and I've already made the patch switch, so it's super smooth. I can sustain it and just go into the next patch, which is great. It's a really cool feature that I like, which I generally have to do a lot of when I'm playing live gigs, especially pop gigs, which have a lot of patch changes, and I find this really helpful. The other thing that they've done is made this whole two voice thing, and so it just saves a lot of space, and it's easier to just switch between a lot more patch categories. The one thing that I absolutely love about this keyboard is the pitch bend. It's very responsive. And this really cool mod wheel that you know, we've been trying out. If we go through a lot more patches, I've been just checking out a lot more patches through this, and I really like the clavinets as well, which are really I mean, this is a really nice wah clavinet that's kind of been my favorite. Apart from that, there's some more mellow clavinets. So it's got this really nice jumpy sort of tone. And apart from that, I've been the organ sounds have been really really cool. They've got this percussive sort of thing. And you can kind of do like a motor thing, like have a fast rotor motor and a slow rotor motor through that, and it's really, really useful if you're like kind of finishing a solo and stuff. And bring it back, it's a really. And the other thing that I really find with this organ, it's more like a pipe-ish sort of sound, more whole stops, is the fact that the slide is really easy. That's one thing that you generally need from an organ, is to have this really easy sliding action going through octaves. Because I mean, with organ playing, you generally try to be as legato as possible. So another thing that's really cool about this keyboard is having these like really cool accompaniment patterns, which can be great when you're learning keys to have like this sort of continuous rhythm, so you can just work on it. I'll just demonstrate. So something like that. That's another bossa groove, which is super cool. Again, I'm kind of drifting a little bit towards the jazz side, but as you can see, it has some really, really cool features for you to practice on and to kind of perfect your skill before you go on stage, and also save rehearsal time, because you can work out a lot of kinks while practicing just with the rhythm. So the top features for me would be, first of all, the piano sound is really, really great. Again, coming back, it's got a really, really warm sound. The really great thing that they've done is kind of like allow you to have the touch in place, which was one super duper important thing. But apart from that, they've got this filter that you can kind of change, and that's been really, really helpful for me to get this nice warm sound happening. And I don't know if you guys know about this whole key track sort of situation, where the moment you go up, you want it to ring a lot more, and the moment you go kind of center, middle, you want it to be a lot more mellow. And this, I think it's key tracked and sampled really well, because a lot of keyboards don't do that. You can see the brightness increasing as I go up, which is really, really great. Even the rhythm controller is super cool. I think they've done some really, really nice sounds, and they sound super legit. Like a lot of these intros in the accompaniment, I'd want to basically transcribe it because it sounds so good. Another thing that's really, really great about this keyboard is the price. I mean, a lot of times you get a good product but you can't afford it, and for a low price range you generally don't get all these amazing features. So I think this kind of perfectly kind of fits the bill, where it's not too expensive, and it's also got a lot of features. It's got a great touch, it's got great looking keys, speakers sound nice, it's got all the other added pedals, and you can run a control pedal, you can run a expression pedal, you can run a normal sustain pedal. It's got you can run a mic through this, and it's got a USB, so even it can even work out for your studio work, where you want to just run some MIDI functions through it. So considering all this amazing stuff, the price at which it's at, the price range is absolutely amazing. So I would definitely recommend it, mainly because of this whole package and also the price range. So I think all in all, it's a keyboard that has a lot of dynamic aspect to it. Like at the gig, you can change a lot of stuff. That's the one thing that I look for in a keyboard. Where how rigid is it? In this case, it's got some really good sounds, but at the same time, it's not very rigid, so you can totally use it. At the same time, I think if I'm at a gig where for budget constraints, they don't want to have a bass player and a drummer and a bunch of other stuff, this is a great substitute to play at a lobby, and just put some backing sounds so that you can kind of challenge yourself. Yeah, basically all this stuff really, really helps out, and it's a great keyboard. That's about it. Thank you.